Sunday morning, January 19th, 2025, I had to come up to the shop this morning to meet one of my drivers to give him an iPad. And so before I left, I thought, well, I'm going to stop and use the restroom because it's snowing. And I walked in here and I noticed that the shop is empty, which is super rare. They must have got all the jobs finished up. And then it kind of hit me. See, when there's nothing happening inside here, nobody's making any money. And just the analogy hit me that millions of small businesses across America look like this now. Because a group of paranoid, delusional, narcissistic psychopaths have gaslit, brainwashed a bunch of empty-headed morons into believing that this is okay. Imagine for a moment if the reason this shop was empty was because men with guns showed up and put locks on the doors and said, national security, we can't have you making any money in here. All the tools would be useless. All of the lifts would be useless. If somebody came and threatened violence against you if you did not lock your doors and not let any customers in. Now, what's funny to me also is that the video editing tools that we use to make these videos that you empty-headed morons are so used to looking at on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, hey, you know where those came from? TikTok. Most of them are made on an app called CapCut. I can't use CapCut right now because it's turned off, because you empty-headed, useless fucking morons that run off to the voting booth every 2, 4, 6, 8 years, that believe in fairy tales. You're like snake handlers. You know, you've seen the video of the snake. I'm going to hold the snake and God's not going to get me. Empty-headed, paranoid, delusional morons that watch too much television. See, I'm not mad at the government. I'm mad at you. Those of you that are cheering this on and saying, well, I wasn't ever on there, it don't affect me. Oh, honey, wait. Oh, honey, wait. See, because whatever you allow the state to do to your neighbor, you've now given it the power to do it to you. Oh, and sure, it's not an app. Yet, see, because this wasn't a ban TikTok bill. This was a give the government unlimited sources of power that it does not deserve bill wrapped up in TikTok. And because you empty-headed government school graduates that, most of you can barely count to 100, you think that's what it's about. It's not what it's about. It's about controlling speech. It's about controlling access. Because you got to understand, you slaves that live on your plantation, see, the plantation owner doesn't want you talking to people on the other plantations. Because if you start talking to the people on the other plantations who have their own group of empty-headed, narcissistic, delusional, paranoid freaks, you start going, wait a minute, well, that person lives on the other side of a border, but they're no different from me. See, that's what they can't have. And that's why TikTok was so dangerous. Because no social app in the history of social apps has ever made it as easy to transcend borders than did TikTok. It's never happened. And it still doesn't. Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube are terrible at making new connections. Now, it will show you everything that you want to see. I opened YouTube this morning, and it's all the same old people, right? People that I like, people that I follow, that I'm subscribed to. But very rarely does it ever introduce me to somebody I've never met before. Very rarely does it introduce me to someone who may have a different perspective than I do. may have a different belief system than I do. See, because I have learned from making new friends and connections through TikTok that I've not learned anywhere else. So ultimately, there's going to have to be a change. And it's not going to be a change in government. It's going to be a change in the market. What we must have now, as is so clearly evidenced here, and by the last 5 years, there must be a decentralized social network or networks that have no central authority, they have no central server, and that so they can never be turned off. Because when you lose freedom of speech, when you give it away, because that's what you've done, you've given away your neighbor's freedom of speech, and you're celebrating it over a lie. It is a 100% fabrication that TikTok is owned by China. That is not true, and it's verifiably untrue. If you possess the logical and critical thinking to be able to go figure that out, but most of your government school training was sit down, shut the fuck up, and do what you're told, slave. Because you're a bunch of fucking slaves on a plantation. You wouldn't have an original thought if it hit you in the fucking mouth. Think about all the businesses. Think about all the moms and dads, people that have built a living using TikTok Shop. This is a real shop. It's a big shop. But why does someone making a living on TikTok Shop, why is that not a real job? Well, they're interacting with real people, selling real products, putting real money in the bank. Why does that not count? Oh, it don't count because you're too fucking stupid to be able to do it yourself, and you're jealous that they can do it and you can't. So yeah, I'm pissed off. I'm righteously pissed off. And a lot of other people are too. Now, I'm not the march on the Capitol kind of guy. I'm not going to go march in the street. But let me promise you, there's some crazy sumbitches in America, and you've just pissed off 170 million of them. Good luck with that.